On this season of what seems to be America's downfall, Donald Trump is now calling for the arrest of Governor Pritzker as well as the mayor of Chicago, all because he says they won't keep ICE agents safe. We're going to talk about that. We're also going to talk about two other very important things that's happening right now on the political stage. One is the government shutdown, which is now on its 8th day, and Mike Johnson's continuous refusal to swear in Adelita Grahova. Now, Mike Johnson, I've made a video on him before, and his name is so fitting. Mike Johnson, which is another word for cock, which is very similar to cuck, because Mike Johnson is one of the biggest cucks I've ever seen because he continuously allows his constituents to get fucked by whatever Donald Trump wants. And right now, it seems to be delaying as much as possible the release of the fucking Epstein files. So let's talk about that. This is my Yap About Anything channel, hence the name. If you want my qualified opinion, that's on the main channel. My formal education as well as experience for like the last decade is in finance and economics. That's on the main channel. Here, we will talk about everything that I think is important to talk about, and that might be politics, that might be tech. It's literally across the board. Okay, so let's get right into it. So the first thing, Donald Trump is calling for the arrest of Governor Pritzker and the mayor of Chicago on basically no grounds. And what I think is so important to talk about here is that, look, a lot of people are just going to write this off as Trump tweeting once again or truth socialing once again. That might be the case. We cannot normalize this behavior. Because what this is doing is this is testing the waters for a speed run to authoritarianism. And if you look at his previous tweets or Truth Social posts, whatever, the fact of the matter is they actually turn into things. Okay, we have Comey, who's been indicted. We had TV hosts canceled, either permanently or temporarily, until Disney lost a ton of money and brought them back because of his tweets. John Bolton's home was raided because of what Trump says. So while we could write this off all day as just Trump being Trump, staying in the forefront of media, being really good at staying in the eyes of the media, we can write this off all day long. But the fact of the matter is, this is unprecedented. And in fact, a lot of what Trump is doing this term is unprecedented in our history as a country, as a nation. So to write this off would be very unpatriotic. This is not right. This is not the right direction that the country should be taking if you value democracy. And for anybody who is going to comment on this video saying that we are not a democracy, you're an idiot. And if you are not if you are not an idiot, you are uneducated. So pick up a history book and understand what democracy is. That is a umbrella term, and this country falls under that. Okay? We are a representative democracy. We are a republic. Okay? So I don't even need to go on any further. Just pick up a fucking history book and learn. Don't just believe what you hear on the internet, including this video. Double check everything. That's the first thing to solving our problems. Okay, enough of that tangent. Now let's go on to Mike Johnson, and then we'll end with the government shutdown. Mike Johnson is a cuck. He does whatever Trump wants, okay? He does not care about his constituents, at least when it comes to the Epstein files, which is a pressing issue on both sides of the aisle. It doesn't matter if you're Republican or Democrat. It doesn't matter if you're an extreme left or extreme right, if you're MAGA, if you're somewhere in the middle. Everybody wants the Epstein files to be released so the people who committed disgusting acts against literal children can be held accountable. And if they're not going to be held accountable in a court of law, at least they can be held accountable when it comes to their businesses or just simply public shame. Yet, time and time again, Trump continues to just delay and use every tactic in the book to keep these files from coming out. Most recently, he was asked if he would pardon Ghislaine Maxwell, the convicted sex trafficking partner of Jeffrey Epstein. And he said, I'll have to look at it. I'll have to take a look at it. I'll have to ask the DOJ. Now, look, some people might say, well, he never said yes. You're right. He didn't say yes. But he didn't say no either. It was so simple to just be like, you mean the convicted sex trafficker? Yeah, no, she's not getting a pardon. That's not what he said. He said, I'll take a look at it. I haven't heard that name in so long. Bull fucking shit. It's all over the news. That's all that's been in the news for like a fucking year. I'll have to take a look at it. I'll have to ask the DOJ. Tons of people have asked me for pardons. Diddy, I call him Puff Daddy or some Puff Diddy, whatever he said. He knows who she is. He could have said no. He didn't. So I'm not saying Trump is guilty. I'm not, because I don't know. He very much could be not guilty. But if he is not guilty, he is surely doing everything in his power to look guilty. Everything that a normal, not guilty person would do, he does the exact fucking opposite. So maybe he's covering for other people. I don't know. People just want the files released. It's unbelievable. Okay. Yeah, and okay, back to... I went off tangent. Adelita Grajova, she's the last vote required to petition for the release. They need 218 votes. She won her seat like 3 weeks ago. And Mike Johnson is refusing to swear her in because we're in a government shutdown. Yet he swore in just a few months ago 2 Republican members who hadn't even been confirmed by their state that they won, and he expedited their swearing in. Yet for Adelita Grajova, he just delays and delays and uses every excuse in the book to delay because he knows that once she's sworn in, they will very likely have the 218 votes required to petition the discharge of these Epstein files. Okay. Now we'll end this video on the government shutdown. Okay, we're entering day 8 of the government shutdown. When you watch this video, it might be day 9 or day 10. The longest we've had a government shutdown is 35 days. And lo and behold, it happened under Trump's previous administration, I think in 2018. So just when you look at the data, hopefully this will be less than that, right? But there's a first for everything. So could it be longer? Yes. The Democrats keep putting in their CR. The Republicans keep putting in their version. And we cannot, no side of the aisle can agree because there is so much political divide. There is so much political animosity between the two sides that they can't come to the table and compromise and get the government back open. And remember, even if they open the government, this is going to happen again in 60 or 90 days because this is just a CR. It's not a new budget. It is just a stopgap. It is just to fill the short term to get the government open again because, once again, nobody can agree on anything. And, Trump has blamed Democrats for the shutdown, and the Republicans have blamed Democrats. As someone who I tend to lean left, I'm pretty center, to be honest. Just to put this in perspective, I would vote for a qualified Republican in a heartbeat, but I tend to lean left on like social issues and stuff. It is technically the Democrats' fault because they are holding up. Remember, in the Senate, Republicans don't have 60 votes. So you have to get some Democrats on board. They are holding up because they want, these healthcare credits to be extended because these healthcare credits that primarily affect business owners and farmers and people who can't get healthcare through the normal ways, like through your employer, they want these credits to be extended. They expire very soon. And if they expire, we're looking at like 114% increase for premiums of those people. And that's 7% of the population. So that's like 20 plus million people who would be affected. So it is the Democrats' fault. I'm not saying that it's not a bad or not a noble gesture, but it is kind of their fault for keeping the government shut down. But they're trying to, and you could also say, well, it's the Republicans' fault because they won't agree to, what the Democrats want. So it's really both people, technically, or both sides of the aisle. Where am I going here? Yeah, I think that's it. I don't want to drag this video out for too long. We're still in a government shutdown. Oh, Trump is threatening not to pay furloughed employees. Look, this video would be an hour long if I covered everything. I try to make these videos as concise as possible. I'll probably make a video later on in the week because there's bound to be way more news when it comes to this bullshit anyway. So I will do just that. But until then, if you enjoyed this, if you thought it was funny, informative, if you agree with me, even if you disagree with me, I like civil discourse. Leave your comments in the comment section below. Feel free to subscribe. It helps the channel tremendously. Every subscription matters. It is hard to grow here on YouTube, so every subscription means the world to me, even if you disagree. I want civil discourse. That's the only way we fix anything. So even if you disagree with me entirely, as long as we remain civil, that is what matters. We need to fix the country by having conversations with the other side. And this goes for both. And you can say, oh, well, the radical left is violent. So is the radical right. Okay? And if you're on the radical left, or if you're on the left and you say, well, the radical right, statistically does more political violence. The radical left also does political violence. So let's stop pointing fingers at each other, try to come together and try to fix our country. Because whether you believe it or not, regardless of which side you lie on the aisle, most Americans love this country. They just have a different vision for the future. That's all. I'll leave that there. Again, I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day. Please consider subscribing if you haven't already. I'll see you in the next video, probably very soon. Take care.